and welcome back to another episode of Disciplined Stoners. I'm your host, 11.
My name is Winnie, and we are the Gateway Drug to Mindfulness.
And today...
Welcome to Disciplined Stoners.
We're here to grow. Our next guest is a musician, actress, and comedian with repeat appearances at Just for Laughs, the Winnipeg and Halifax comedy festivals, has written on This Hour is 22 Minutes, hosts her own podcast called PodGis, and her new stand-up special, So Brave, is out for free now on YouTube. Please welcome Ava Val! Hi. Thank you for that entrance.
Thanks for, where did I come from?
I don't know. You weren't even here, and then you just all of a sudden...
That's the best entrance we've ever had.
Yeah.
But that's the only entrance we've ever had.
See? Well, now you have to impose that on every guest. Now you have to tell
You
them,
must come from above or below.
Just grab them by their head and be like, get under there.
Fuck. Winnie will
Wait
have to do
until
that
we
part.
introduce you.
Yeah. Okay.
That's so
Thanks.
good.
You've just changed our podcast.
You've changed it forever now with the culture. There will be before and after. It'd be like BA and AA.
I love that.
Before Ava, after Ava. Just like before Christ, after Christ. You know how they say that? BC
Right.
after the AD.
Now, and it's fitting because it's
biblical.
201.
Yeah.
Thank you for starting us on a brand new 100th run.
Yeah.
You guys know how to do that?
I don't.
Wicked. I always pretend and kind of snap along the way.
Yeah. We can tell. Us clappers
I
can
know.
tell what
You guys got the full momentum, and I'm kind of just like throwing like.
Was it always a thing, or did you have to learn how to do that?
I had to learn.
You did?
Yeah. My dad would come down to the... I have no idea how many family members would come down to the basement and see me watching TV from behind the couch, just like... from behind my arm, going like this.
Okay, I heard a
It's
little
making-
snap every now and again.
Yeah, just a little wet snap from sweating from trying so hard.
How long did it take you?
It took a couple months.
Feels like it's
Yeah.
a skill that needs.
It would have taken a shorter time if I hadn't masturbated so much.
Okay, you are born with this gift to be very hilarious on a dime, as we've seen in these 30 seconds of this opening.
Yeah,
like,
you're special.
you are living. Congratulations
Oh my
on your
gosh.
special. Like, we want to get into life and stuff, but that must be fun just to have that creative force in your mind all the time.
Oh man,
Is it fun?
I wouldn't argue that I was born with it. It's so fun, of course.
Okay.
I'm having, but that's the key. Is it's more a matter of fun and confidence. Sense of play is something that you kind of practice and exercise.
I love
and
that.
like, I'm entering this era where I'm loving what I do more and more and more. And so it just perpetuates this sense of play and like,
It's joyful.
It's joyful. I have fun. When you guys gave me the intro, I'm like, where can I hide? This feels weird still. I have to, just like following impulses and feeling confident enough that if I fail, I'll fail spectacularly at the very least.
Oh, beautiful. It is that confidence to try and follow through. That's improv.
Yeah.
I first saw you on a show that I was on that had two people on it, and it was my friend Branko, who I think you know, and one of his friends that he brought. Those were the two audience members.
Branko came through just because I was like, bro, when he's doing a set, come through. And Branko just shows up like a magical unicorn sometime with his open jacket, and he did that day.
Yeah.
Then he,
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
Branks?
So we had two audience members. It was I think it was at Tall Boys. I can't remember for sure. I think that's where it was at.
you in a basement.
And then 11 and comedians. That's what it was. And like the vibe was so fucking weird. And then you got on stage and
my
like
God.
you made everything better. It was actually magical.
You're an angel of energy. It's like you just zapped the room with your joy and poignant observation, and everyone's spirit clitoris got stimulated and we perked up. It was amazing.
Spirit clitoris. That's so cool.
So
oh man.
have you like? Because you really, I felt like you really like. I don't know if took control is the right word, but it felt like you like curated an energy and like held us all within it. And I'm wondering if that's something that you've always like, is that innately in you, or is that something that has been learned over time? Because every time I see you, you kind of, you do that. You put the crowd at ease somehow, and like no matter what's going on.
Command without being like dominant, but still in control. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Sorry, I stepped on Winnie's question.
When it comes to poorly attended shows, I've been doing this for 17 years.
Yes.
And so I've endured a lot of those. And I kept noticing over and over again that the show could be fun if you embraced it and didn't and you weren't so cynical about it. Like the worst thing was watching comic after comic go up and be like, ugh, nobody showed up, and what's the point? And you're like, okay, but the two people that are here
Give them a shot.
are here. They showed up.
Yeah.
Why are you punishing them?
Yeah.
Like, give them a good time. And while you're at it, like, you get to do this. You get to do stand-up. That is something, that is a mantra of mine. I get to do this. So any chance I get to go on stage, sure, it's going to be difficult because the atmosphere isn't as conducive. You don't have a packed room. But, like, those people still want to enjoy a show. So have fun. Embrace fun. Just have fucking fun, dude.
Professional though, like that, you found the like inner love power of just being in flow with the craft, but it translates as, you know what, you all say you're comedians, you got up and did your job as a comedian, and you're right, the others complained that it wasn't up to their standards at that point. You execute it, and it's so great to hear that you get to that deliverable, like that good result of performing, no matter what the circumstance, through a lens of joy and fun. Because sometimes that shit can be made in your head and synthetically fabricated in order to like I know a lot of musicians who just like, they don't like it, but they'll do it. You know,
Yeah,
but you're like,
yeah.
no, I'm with me.
Okay,
and I'm gonna
what
be
about
as
that
beautiful.
feeling?
Yeah.
I don't know if you would even get this after 16 years or 17 years, excuse me, but that feeling that when you don't know what to say next and there's silence and it almost feels like you're falling. Like it almost literally like you're in midair and you just like can't calculate the next step. How long do we sit there for? How long can you, I guess, do you experience discomfort on stage, I guess is the question. And how long does it take for you to like scramble your way out of that? Scramble's not the right word.
Yeah. Comedy is all about tension management. And the longer you hold a moment, there's this valve that's always increasing. And every joke kind of releases the valve and purges it down. And then you build tension again with a setup, or with silence is a great tool to like really amp it up. And then you break that tension. And then you break that tension by delivering the punchline. So whenever you're sitting there waiting for the next thing to say, you can feel the tension rise in the room, and that'll make that release that much more powerful.
Oh, what if you don't have the release?
If you don't have the release, then fake it till you make it
Yeah.
is very much a thing in comedy. Like, you need to show the audience that no matter what happens, you're still in control.
Yeah.
And if a joke doesn't go the way you like, you can acknowledge it playfully, as long as you make sure they read that you are in control of the room. So if that one didn't work, then let's move on. Here's the next one. I'll get you with the next one.
Is there, is there ever a moment where, because when I first started comedy, I really noticed that the instinct to turn on the crowd when things aren't going well, it comes with like new comedians or like, I guess not well-seasoned comedians.
Or any performer.
That didn't...
Any performer.
Yeah,
Don't blame the
that
audience.
didn't sit with me well at all, ever. Like, I didn't ever like when someone was like, this is your fault, you know? But I'm curious to know if there is, like, a time and place where turning on the audience is beneficial.
Yes. I I had this. Okay, so I had a go-to bit that I still use it every once in a while when I don't get the response that I want, and like it's a playful jab that you would at a friend. Like it's all about kind of the way you deliver it, in a sense that you're not chastising the audience, you're not scolding them.
Yeah.
You're kind of like, you abandoned me, you motherfuckers. What's going on here? You know?
And in your special, you found that hilarious laugh, and you said this laugh is gonna win me a Juno. Like that's so fun. Like you're obviously like roasting someone, but it's out of love and curiosity and creativity and participation. And yeah, it doesn't feel like you're kicking down. It feels like you're just incorporating.
Totally. I mean, I was really grateful for that laugh. That was such an amazing laugh.
Such an amazing laugh.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your new special. So good. And then when you came back to it after you had addressed it initially and then came back to it another time, it was so good. Congratulations on your special.
Yeah, I gotta say that.
Thanks.
Is this your first 1 hour? Sorry, I shouldn't.
This is my first special. I recorded one like 8 years ago. But long story short, I hired the wrong people and it just really didn't come out. And so I was like, no one's ever going to get to see this.
Yeah, there's always a couple of those.
Yeah.
Every successful person or comedian or musician has a couple of projects and things that have just ended up. So respect on the stripes.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
And what I like is that this being my debut special, I have the advantage of so much experience. Yeah. So it's not like my freshman attempt at an hour. It's like something that I've polished, and you can tell I've been doing it for a while, you know? The delivery is there. And so, and also on top of that, like this is post-transition. So this is like the real me without having a full hour of like old Ava Val talking about jerking off and stuff. I don't know. I don't even remember what I talked about.
That's amazing. Well, we talked about the evolution of an individual, how you're basically always have to update your material. Like as an artist, you're growing. Your perspectives on the outside world change no matter, I mean, of course, we all have different ways that we evolve. But like that, sometimes when I look back on material from like 10 years ago, I'm like,
Yeah.
Like I just don't agree. Like with the perspective maybe of that song or something, you know. So I feel you. That's always a part, but it's great. You had some bangers in this new special, The Bones. I was like laughing for too long. I couldn't hear the next joke. Like bones.
Yeah, I'm not afraid to contort my body in like grotesque ways. I find that, you know, some comics could be so much better. They could level up if they let go of the idea that they had to be cool. Like, you don't have to be cool.
Yeah.
That kind of coolness doesn't matter on stage. And maybe you can achieve it by not caring. It's a paradox. The less you care and the more you give yourself to like willfully potentially making an ass of yourself.
Yeah.
The cooler you are, because you give off this ideal, this impression that you just don't give a fuck, and nothing's cooler than not giving a fuck. So be ugly, be grotesque, lean into your bits.
Yeah, and that's such. I mean, you're the presence that you have on stage is really remarkable to watch and experience, even watching it back, because we saw you this special live at Comedy Bar Danforth last summer. It was so fun. Yeah, it was so fun to see it then and then watch it again now.
Yeah, it was really cool.
And to remember how like present you were, and I think new comics or maybe I'll just talk about myself.
How you really feel?
Are the new comics in the room with us right now?
Yes. Yeah. I like memorize everything, right? So like I'll write everything out and I'll memorize everything and then I'll perform it like a monologue. My background is acting, and that's just like what I was most comfortable with getting into comedy. And as soon as something changes, and it always does because it's a live audience.
Yeah.
As soon as something changes, it's so easy for me as Winnie the individual to be like, no, that wasn't supposed to happen. Like, let's go back and let me like hit you with this punchline again the way it was supposed to happen, right?
Yeah.
So I really like am inspired and admire your willingness to like be like, oh fuck the Wild Buffalo Bill wings. Holy shit. Like, just you too, like, you have to go watch the special in order for this to make sense.
I know, I'm like, I don't want to give away too many anchor jokes. Like,
Is that something that came over time, or do you think that was always like within you? Like, were you always kind of messing around with people off the top of your career?
You know what? Okay, you know where that comes from is when I was in year 3 or 4, I made a promise to myself that I would do one thing on stage different every single time, or one thing that scared me. And whether that was just a new tag or a new way of delivering a joke, that wasn't enough eventually for me. And I was like, I'm not pushing myself hard enough. And then it became, I will improvise one thing every single time. Whether it be a question to the audience, I'll start simple. If it leads into the bit, then I can ask a simple question to the audience. And if nothing inspires, then I've already set up the premise. You know what I mean? Then I've already introduced the next topic and I can move into the bit. So there are like organic ways that you can incorporate getting used to playing and improvising and being spontaneous. And so that like pact I made with myself at like year 3 or 4 carried me through and continues to the rest of my career, where I'm just like, every show I need to do something to surprise myself. That's the idea now, is that I need to surprise myself. And
What does that feel like inside your body when you surprise yourself?
joy, pure joy. Well, when it works out. When it doesn't, it's you also realize, like, on the other side of things, I'm alive. I'm still here. Like, what's the worst that can happen?
You're in a creative
know?
flow regardless, I feel. Like, whatever side you come out on, and I get that from, like, freestyling, what I do. It's like you ground yourself in, like, so what? I'm in this flow anyway. And then, like, when you try to remain in something and you attract it, you manifest more inevitably by the laws of the universe, you know? So it's like, just by you focusing on joy, it's always going to get more.
100%. And the other thing is, I do have a fear of stagnating and plateauing and not growing. I have this fear of like not challenging myself. There needs to be some challenge. And in the early stages, stand-up itself is a challenge. So don't take on too much. You don't have to do what I did or what anybody else does. What works for you, you will learn as you go. And so my system isn't a catch-all. But I will say that it's been really helpful in rounding out my skill set, because now, my God, not only can I improvise, but I can write on stage. It helps write my material. It's this cyclical thing. It all contributes. I forget what point I was.
You're writing though. That does. Let me cut you off there then. No,
She's not smoking any weed.
Yeah.
But there may be
know,
residual
sorry.
effects.
This is secondhand. Oh no.
That's me. All right, maybe I'll.
Am I high?
No.
You're in safe company.
Your writing though. I was gonna ask, like, okay, not to give away it again because this is from your special, but like the captain, the pirate captain bit.
Yeah.
Were you sitting around in a coffee shop when you thought about that? Because that's like a movie. Like that, when you were doing that, like, it helped that you acted it out with the door on stage. It's cool that the stage had the set for that.
Yeah.
Shout out Comedy Bar. Right?
Well, that stemmed from like a very real topic of depression.
But I was just going to say, it's like you take it the next step of what he would say if he was depressed. Like, I, like, as a joke writer, would have left it out, just like, nah, yar, that's funny in the physicality, but you just want me to something like that, what you write. Like, are you, because that's such a bar. That's like a movie script level bar, if you ask me. Like, are you sitting around at a coffee shop jotting this and expanding these ideas? Did that idea specifically, just for instance, did that happen on stage and you were free flowing? Because something like that is like, that's writing. Like, I'm gonna see that scene in my head probably for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Like,
that bit is a great example of perseverance, and it's the premise is 10 years old. I thought of it a long time ago when I forget where I was, but I was feeling particularly depressed, and Pirates of the Caribbean came on or something.
Oh my God.
And all I could think of was like, yar. Just a sad pirate just like moping in the gallows or whatever, just like, yar.
Because that's funny.
Yeah.
Like, alone, like a sad pirate, because you only ever think of him as like...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also in that moment, I was just kind of justifying... I was trying to like give myself that tough love to get out of this depression. And that premise, I kept trying it and it wasn't clicking in. And I feel like my approach made it sound like I was trivializing depression a bit too much. There was something in the way I was delivering it. It was just wasn't connecting. And so I finally gave up on it. And then like leading up to the special, I was like, I really like that premise. And I want to revisit it. And over the course of, not close to this, but it was like 3 years after picking it up again and trying it, and it wasn't working. And finally I was just like, okay, after you go behind the door, there was one show where I saw the door and I was like, okay, maybe he pokes his head out. So I improvised that. And then every show after that, I would wait behind the door. After I poked my head out, I was like, improvise here. Try and think of something to say.
Nice.
And just over and over again, I just kept bombing the line and I couldn't find something. And it was like, it took me a long time to finally land on like this spiteful feeling of like, yeah, you
gotta watch it.
You gotta watch it.
Go watch it.
But it's important, and you need to go see it. Right?
But that bit in particular
it hits because everyone's felt like that. That captain. Yeah. Why do we self-deprecate? It's real underneath and it's funny on top, and that's just like.
And the idea of like this macho bravado Jack Sparrow pirate with imposter syndrome, it works so beautifully.
Yes.
So
because comedy, you mentioned tension and release. I think about that storytelling, and it's also like opposites.
Yeah,
Comedy works so well with
Yeah.
opposites. So you take something extremely dominant, masculine, and make him docile. That's so funny. I love it. It seemed like a masterful writing.
that bit is a testament. Just to wrap the point, that bit is a testament to like. Sometimes also you gotta leave a bit aside and set it aside and come back to it with fresh eyes years later and just like stick to it and improvise and tweak and edit.
Right on.
That's
amazing.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
I know.
That's not giving up.
So it's kind of evident when you said that you have this like fear of not growing. Just the amount of skills that you have, it makes sense that you're learning a lot. So you're also a musician. You play, is it electric guitar? Electric guitar.
Yeah, mostly electric.
Have you been, what skill, and you're also an actress, so like what skill have you been doing the longest?
Comedy.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I was curious about that.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. When did you pick up the guitar?
When I was like 19 or 20, so like 16 years. A year after I started comedy, I got really into Guitar Hero. It's that classic story of like being an expert at Guitar Hero, and my friends got tired of seeing me sit on the couch like rip Sweet Child of Mine, and they're like, the amount of time you're spending on this, pick up a fucking guitar. And I was like, oh God, you're right. You're right.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What do you like to play? What's your go-to when you're just jamming for yourself?
Well, this is the thing. When it comes to guitar, I wish I was more eager to learn when it comes to guitar, because my go-to is I just like the recreational. I like have a loop pedal with rhythms.
Sick.
That I lay down a rhythm just spontaneously, whatever 3 or 4 chords. I improvise.
Yes.
And then I just solo over it, and that to me is just a good time. And I just like.
Dude,
soloing. I just like.
I feel you.
Yeah.
I totally feel you. That is it. That is just, you get into flow. That is your, if you will, your soul is saved in life if you know how to get into flow, because that's sort of like, I call it pain relief. Like when it's for me, I'm throwing on a beat and just like spitting bars, like same thing. You make a little progression, you just let it talk through you.
Yep.
It's very cleansing. It's helpful to get your thoughts away from like twisting the gears of your life when you're like, I guess it feels like you're receiving, no?
Yeah.
When you're like improvising, soloing over something, like when it's just coming to you, it's like I feel like there's this clear channel. And it's just that's wonderful.
Yeah,
Congrats.
and I feel like what you're receiving is kind of a message from your body to your brain. You know what I mean?
It's always
Like,
communicating something. Yeah, it's subconscious. Yeah.
Because there's a certain point where your conscious mind just kind of lets go and like something else takes over. So I feel like that's your body finally communicating with your brain in a way that is just so
This is pleasing.
synchronized. Yeah,
I like that.
We're raising the vibration on Earth.
we are.
Doing good work.
Hell yeah.
That's what we got to do. And we got to go up through ourselves, and if you raise your vibration, I feel like you affect those around who can observe you. Like living in your authentic core self, which is always love.
Yep.
You can tell when someone's in with their center because they're connected to love. Yeah, that's a fantastic approach. Playful, fun.
Yeah. Joy and authenticity go like this. Yeah. Sorry.
Do you meditate or anything? Why are you
No.
so nice?
How'd you get here?
I don't have the attention span for that.
Do you
I really
journal?
don't. No.
Do you
Tell yourself you love yourself in the mirror. Do you
do
do
we have
that?
affirmations?
Ooh. Sometimes.
I started doing that
Yeah. That's a great call.
religiously.
Yeah. It really helps to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking yourself in the eyes and like truly just being like, or even if you don't really feel it, just being like, but I know that I love you. Even if I don't feel it right now, I love you.
Yeah.
Okay? So
Say it.
that's it. End of story. I love you.
And you have
Yeah.
2 hemispheres in each eye. You can see there's slightly different energy in your left eye and your right eye. And it's basically the breaking down the hemispheres of one side of your brain is the masculine logistic and the other side is the feminine creative. And I think they manifest in parts of your ego identity on different sides of the hemisphere of your face. So
Interesting.
if you take a picture of it, I'm getting deep on this shit. But yeah.
I have, so this happened twice in my life where I was feeling especially self-loathing. I was just spiraling so badly and like being so self-critical, and it was all just accumulating, and the pressure, the weight I was going through life with was too much, and it was just self-loathing immensely. And finally one night I had this breakdown while I was taking off my makeup. I like caught a moment where I actually deeply stared into my own eyes as if I was looking at someone else for the first time and being like, why are you so mean to me? You know, I deserve so much more love than you give me right now. And can you forgive me? Can you give me a little break here a little bit? And like, I just bawled my eyes out, just staring into my own eyes and like speaking to myself with love and kindness and forgiveness. And that's only happened twice where I needed to reach that point, but I think it's a really healthy exercise to like look at yourself in the eyes and do it with forgiveness and love and patience.
Yo, that's such a beautiful moment. You also mentioned something there too, forgiveness. I've practiced this like Hawaiian prayer, Ho'oponopono or something. I know I'm definitely not pronouncing it correctly, but basically translated it goes, or you say like, you start with, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you.
My brother taught me that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that beautiful?
It's so nice.
Yeah, that's the thing
Yes.
to do. Because you're like, you start with, first of all, your ego takes over, like, what am I sorry for? And then you're like, something. Because I feel guilty about something. Like, I don't know what's heavy, but you just basically go either to the universe or visualize someone in your head or yourself or whatever. You're just like, I'm sorry, please forgive me. Like, that's an intention, please forgive me. And then you accept it. It's so important to say thank you. Thank you. You like give thanks, and then you're like, I love you.
Although I will say, I love it. I'm a huge fan. But sometimes I'll be fighting with my brother, and he'll send me that, and I'll be like, I'm not done being mad at you. Wait.
Yes.
I'm not done being pissed.
Yeah. He's gotten there, though, so he's just like, this is all I got now.
And
Yeah.
then you know it's
I've done that
something-
before to people, and it just like,
The issues with us. over
you
the ones
yeah,
who are
you
upset
can't
us.
you can't fight up against that, you know. But you can try.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll always try.
Yeah, you can try. You might bring him back, into the dark side.
No. We've learned that preaching mindfulness at people when they're not in the space to receive it is basically starting a war.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel good.
No, if you're on the receiving end of it, even if you're on the trying to give it, you realize like, I'm being a martyr. You know,
Yeah.
like it's never a good look. So it's like, I feel with mindfulness or feedback or things like that, like, remember our affirmation?
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
you gotta wait till that door opens again. You can't throw it at a closed door.
Totally. Otherwise, it could come across pretty patronizing.
Yeah.
Especially that, I love my brother, but sometimes when he uses it, I'm just like, you're
Yeah.
talking down to me. I can feel
Yeah.
it. I want to be mad.
When he had this in part of our set one time, she's like, my husband and I are on a race to who can be more mindful. Because it's totally like a millennial thing too, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's like, no, I am more zen than you.
I love that.
Turns into the commodified, how many yoga studio memberships do you have?
Yeah.
I dropped that joke. It wasn't working. But after your story, maybe I'll revisit.
Come back with fresh eyes sometimes.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I love that.
So
That's good.
you've been, I've been following you on Instagram since I saw you the first time, which I guess is over like maybe a year or 2 years now.
Immediate fans, by the
Time
way.
is interesting.
Immediate fans.
But I've seen you really like
Do your thing.
blow up. I don't know if blow up's the right word, but just like
Do your thing.
you're across the country. You're performing at all of these like really high level, big name festivals. You're doing full time comedy.
Yeah.
You're living the dream.
Yeah. Barely.
So how does
It's
that
still
feel?
Canadian. It's still the Canadian industry.
It's the middle class dream.
Yeah. It's
Of the
it's
world.
stressful. It's not easy.
Yeah.
I'm still very much financially. I'm like not swimming in it by any means. I'm learning a valuable lesson in the optics really look great.
Yeah.
And I'm really grateful, and I'm really proud and grateful, and I have so much momentum going for me.
Mm-hmm.
But this industry truly, unfortunately, is very ruthless and so unforgiving and so fruitless most of the time, especially if you live in Canada. It's just especially hard here. And so it's kind of this measured optimism that's like, I'm so grateful and I love everything that's happening, but I don't want to be ungrateful to say I wish there was more.
I want there to be more for
tangibly.
Canadians as well. We're actually,
Yeah.
I'm hearing that a lot lately. Another musician friend of ours is same thing. The optics look great, and then he's like, yeah, it's all right. You know what I mean?
I always say, like, Toronto, I mean, it's the best place in Canada, in my opinion, to pursue a career in the arts for sure. But just because I got a bit of a business acumen, like learned how to flip it into entrepreneurialism, you basically become, you're a service provider of performance or creative assets, or by association, and learning how to leverage those channels that you can build like audiences for yourself. But the way I explain, especially to American homies, is like Toronto's a great incubator, or Canada, period, is a good incubator. It's a good place to learn how to build equity. Like, you as a company, meaning like people who know of your comedy, you have buzz, you have equity, and like you're the primary owner. So it's like, just because something hasn't gone to market yet doesn't mean it's not valuable. So we're full of value. I mean, like, the guests of the show, yourself included, is a statement period about like, whoa, like Toronto, and that's just at this time period. So it's like, you got to think like, we are world class, we just have to hit the market, and Canada doesn't have a market. Yeah, so we don't have a star system.
The smallest market of all time.
No, I mean, when I'm talking about like Canadian fans, like, I know them, but like even American fans that I have, is like, you're just happy to support. Like we don't have a market. I think it's too small, and we don't have a star system, so there's no like. I mean, some Canadian like Hallmark actors, right? They can like, they've made it. They can charge $100K a movie, and they're chilling, and they're good, and that's good. You do 2 or 3 of those a year, and you're okay. And that's like basically making it in Canada in film. But like, it's very tricky to stay here, right? You got to go do your thing, and then you can move back here. You can be all Chad from Nickelback about it. Leave and go back, but yeah, it's like because I hear that a lot from Canadian, like. It's crazy to know how great you all are, and you are, and to hear that. And some people are often actually surprised to hear that, it isn't fruitful on the back end, because of the enthusiasm that everyone shows up with.
Yeah.
Like, and just like, we as artists take it on our own backs to put together our specials. So it teaches you to build the equity. So that's strong. And it's like, but yeah, it seems as though you do have to.
It must be an
Go
interesting
out.
feeling because you've been doing this for 17 years now, and the momentum's there now. And like, is there are you road mapping it now? Are you blueprinting it? Or are you still sort of just like what comes, I will, you know?
That's the downside to being so present as I am. Is I'm not very good with vision.
I get that.
You know?
You're
Yeah.
just in it.
Yeah, I'm not very good at setting a game plan or ambitiously setting goals. I'm just kind of like, growth is kind of all I'm focused on. And so everything that's happening.
Which is beautiful
Yeah.
and attractive, and people like that. And if you ask any company what they're trying to brew, it's something that people like.
And
Yeah.
Your being.
yeah, like success and growth they're not definitely exclusively mutual, but like if you're focused on growth, I feel like, man, success has to. It has to come.
Yeah.
Like if you're just
Yeah.
constantly like more, just like slowly, steadily, more.
And that's where I find myself right now, is that the momentum I have right now, there's this thing I keep telling myself that's like, you know, stick with it, and the success is in terms of tangible, like money and a bigger fan base, that will come with time if you stay on the right track. But I think what I'm missing, admittedly, is that I need to like strategize. I need to actually start putting in some game plans, like a Patreon or something like that.
You've heard it here.
Yeah.
Well, welcome.
Yeah.
Now you're going to look
Now
out
you're
for that
gonna-
link.
Yes. I was
Follow Ava.
considering, can I bounce this idea off you
Yes.
guys?
Go.
I was thinking, if people really like my special, this is the thing. I have loyal fans. I don't have a huge online following, but the fans that I do have really like what I do. And so I was thinking
And there's
of like,
lots more waiting.
of course, yes, of course. And this special is going to make that happen. But I was thinking on Patreon, just to kick it off with like, for, I don't know, $5, you can get a commentary over the special. If you really like the special, then I'll film myself like chilling and pausing and talking.
That's a great
talking
idea.
over it.
That's such a good piece of
You know?
content.
Yeah.
Because commentaries you don't get DVDs anymore with commentary. And I was
Right?
thinking
Yeah.
like, that's
I
kind of,
think
it's fun if you're really into the whatever you're watching.
And it's good to give it through something like Patreon. Like, so it's, it's like a focused community that like would be interested in like that type. I think that's gold.
Yeah.
That's like BTS of like post BTS.
And Patreon's gotten like, it's way better now than when what it used to be.
Really?
Up until recently, like probably this year, it added like a live streaming option, so you can like have a hangout with your patrons if you want.
We've seen Patreon
There's some
grow
cool
since
things,
early.
that
Yeah.
they've implemented now that could really get you some like fast money if you needed.
Okay.
Like if you were like, fuck, I'm like this much on my rent, you know? Like,
I would do a live hang.
come hang out with me. Like you could, whatever it is.
I love that.
I think live hangs are awesome. Like Zoom
Me
hangs
too.
are totally awesome. We used to do them like via meditation
Direct.
stuff with
Yeah.
our little group.
It's
We
nice to
shut
have
down our
groups.
Patreon because we're weed and it was a whole thing.
It got weird.
But
Sorry.
But we liked it while we were on it for sure. Do it. You should definitely do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'd
Done.
be cool. I love that content. Okay,
Woo!
subscribe to Ava's Patreon. We'll put the link in below.
I'll get it going soon. When is this? Okay, well, this will light the fire under my ass to do it then.
You got,
When
like,
is
You got a week.
Okay,
A week and a half.
Okay, yes. Okay, I love this.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
yes.
If it's up, we'll put the link in the description.
Yeah.
We can always
that.
update it. If you don't have it in the week,
Yeah.
you can always
Okay.
add it later.
All right. If you're watching this and there's no link, feel free to message me to be like, "Hey, bitch ass, get going. What the fuck? Where's my fucking Patreon?"
Okay, favorite cartoons growing up?
Oh. I was into Dragon Ball Z.
Yes,
Yeah.
so cool.
I was into Dragon Ball Z.
Did you like the green characters? Which one were your favorites?
The
pink guy?
I was a Gohan fan. I don't know. There was something about like
Go on.
being the little one who's like explodes with power every once in a while. I just really like that.
I love
and of
that.
course Goku. You always want to see Goku. And
Yeah.
what other cartoons did I watch? Oh man, this is the thing. I never got to have the Saturday morning cartoon experience.
Okay, why?
Because my parents are Lithuanian, and they wanted me to learn the language and the culture. And the only way to do that was to drive to Mississauga from Whitby every Saturday morning to do Lithuanian Saturday school. So I never got to all the kids talking about it. I got to wake up and have my bowl of cereal in front of the TV and watch fucking Flintstones. I don't know. I don't even know what people were watching.
Spider-Man.
I was in
Looney
class.
Tunes.
Powerpuff Girls.
X-Men.
Sailor Moon.
Batman.
Sailor Moon.
Yeah.
Okay, let me hit
Sailor
you with
Moon.
this, though, okay? I had today a moment when I was blow drying my hair. I had to stop the blow dryer. It was like an insane sensation of panic because my mom is, and I am an immigrant. We were born in Holland, and she remarried a Canadian, and I don't know how to speak Dutch. I do like a little bit, but like we didn't keep it fluent, like my mom and my brother and I, the three of us, because we were in Holland and she was learning English, and like it hit me so hard that she had to stop speaking her native tongue after 32 years of speaking it. And I just had this insane panic that I didn't know that language, that she like had to stop speaking because we moved to Canada for like a better life. You know what I mean?
You could have learned it and made your mom feel better.
Yeah,
Winnie.
I know, which is what I always want to do, right?
Forgive yourself.
Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. I'm being the evil one here.
Yeah.
But you could have made your mom feel better.
It's okay. Your mom loves you. Forgive
She
yourself.
does. She does.
That
That
would
must
be
have been
such a-
intense, though.
I'm the guilt, and you're the. I know. That's so good.
Yeah, I think about that sometimes. My parents were raised like in a Lithuanian first household, so like
Yeah.
it makes me a little sad, but at the same time, you know,
Can you speak?
No. Very bad at it. I got bullied that's what fucking sucked. I hated going there. They treated me so cruelly. So like Lithuanians and Lithuanian school in Lithuania, I
harsh.
cherish it as my heritage, but I keep it at an arm's length because I
Okay.
just didn't have a good
Well,
experience
then-
with the community.
Oh man. And you missed out on cartoons. That's a double edge.
Damn.
Yeah, I know.
You don't really live up
Rude.
to your name as the battery creators. Lithium.
No.
Huh?
That's just.
Lit.
It's just a wrong joke.
Oh,
It's Lithuanian.
I see what. Okay.
I'm making an I'm dumb joke by
Lithium?
saying lithium batteries.
Oh, that.
It doesn't work though.
It's okay, I'm learning. I'm gonna
Yeah.
not give up on it. I'm gonna try it different ways.
Take a deep
There you
breath.
go.
And it doesn't matter.
Toss
Well-
it. Hit him with a how about this one now? You know.
Yeah. Well, fuck. Sorry you had that experience.
Yeah.
Where is Lithuania in the country, in the earth?
In Eastern Europe, it's in the Baltic area. It's one of the Baltic countries with like
And what was the language like?
people who don't speak it described it as like Polish sounding, Polish Russian sounding ish.
Ukrainian.
Some people would say it sounds very Russian.
Word.
Yeah.
Interesting. Have you used it since? Do you talk with your parents or
Oh
no?
man, no. I mean, every time I have to use it, it's at like a funeral of a
funeral.
distant
Oh,
family
gonna
member,
say, yeah.
and I'm just kind of in the corner, just like using the simplest
Basics.
sentences. I'm just saying yes, washroom,
Yeah.
washroom, and pointing. Yes.
Do your parents
Girl.
speak to each other? Do your parents speak?
No.
No.
No. I was
Well,
asking
then-
my dad about that yesterday, and he says he's really rusty. They're out of practice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jeez.
So-
Well, I mean, we have Duolingo accessible to us.
Yeah,
you
we're
know?
trying to learn
If we
Latin.
want.
Spanish.
Latin. Oh, Spanish.
Not Latin.
Spanish is one of the Latin
Okay.
languages.
Okay.
Absolutely not Latin.
Although Latin is a very much a specific language.
Spanish.
We're learning Spanish sometimes.
But I don't think I have the brain to actually, because it's the same thing, right? Like when you're learning, you need to be enthused about something, and if you're not enthused about it, should you really be learning about it?
I like watching Acapulco to learn Mexican, as we were saying.
Spanish, not Mexican.
It's you can still learn, but it's harder to do so without any sort of self-driving enthusiasm.
Have you ever thought about Edinburgh?
I've considered it, but I've heard too many horror stories. Not horror stories, but like...
It seems like it's so gigantic that it would be like a lot of things could fall through the cracks, I feel. Yeah.
What is Edinburgh?
I haven't heard any stories. The Comedy Fest. Or it's a festival, but a lot of comics go there to do their hour.
You said self-driving motivation.
Yeah.
So when you navigate your life, you basically only follow the bliss of things that you have self-driving motivation for. You never have to trick yourself into something to do that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's it. There it is.
It's very difficult for me to get anything done that I don't want to do.
I agree. I just won't do it.
I really struggle with that.
Just won't do it.
Yeah. Unless there's a deadline or something and you know, time is of the essence, then maybe, but it's hard to force it.
Yeah, I feel that way about dishes. If I didn't live with 20, I'd just throw them out.
Do you do your taxes?
I did, and then I screwed up so bad that I owe the government a lot of money. So I'm not doing that anymore, I'll tell you that much. I totally, I forgot about that. God damn it.
Sorry.
No,
man.
Back on that.
I owe the government so much money.
It's okay.
No, don't let him say that. What did Fat Sam say?
No, I got this letter. I also owe the government money. I don't know if they sent you this letter.
They can
the
just send you letters, but like Fat Sam was like my drummer. He's like also sending me. Sorry.
I got a letter from the government that was like, you owe us this. And then it was like, ignoring your debts does not make them go away.
Yeah.
In fact, it makes them worse.
No. And then Fat Sound, my drummer, is in the room.
Say that.
And he goes, also sending me letters doesn't make my debt go away. And there's stacks. And in Canada, the cool thing is like they can't take you to court. It's not like the IRS. Like you can just be like, hey, put me on the lowest payment plan you have possible, $10 a month forever. Sure. Like whatever fucking number you want to make up. Don't intimidate your citizens. Back up, because no one here is in the tax bracket to feel like you have to have anxiety about contributing to the society in a financially fiscal way, because we're not in overage yet. So like by you policing the citizens and scaring us is only going to fuck up the prosperity of your economy and your country.
Damn.
Yeah, so don't
truth
even
to power.
don't feel anxiety from these people who really, let me tell you something. You're a caseworker, whatever, whoever goes to, and they keep switching, so it can't get personal. Like the people you deal with, even when you call or whatever letters you get, it keeps changing, so it can't get personal. It keeps moving. Basically, they don't give a fuck either. Like they don't know you. You're just a name. And like they have pre-written copy, they're basically copy pasting. And when it becomes 5 o'clock, those people are off.
Yeah.
Did you get it?
Like, it's not even like, and also creditors, fucking let them call. Just say, no, it's not me. And like eventually, because remember, they bought your debt for cents on the dollar. So if you say, for whatever, maybe one day when you're feeling very prosperous, you can be like, fuck it, I'll buy the debt for what you copped it for. Like if you took $4,000 debt for $400, I'll give you $500. If they say no, fucking hang up. I
don't know if ignoring them entirely is the answer.
No, but I'm saying,
I don't know.
If you, it's not. You just can't let it in your system though, because it'll fuck up your prosperity conscious.
Yeah, it becomes when you're focused on it so hard and it's giving you crazy anxiety. That's not helping you at all, right? So I think that's probably we're more on the path of what Eleven's trying to say, where it's like don't worry about it, but like have it and figure it out, and you're gonna figure it out and look at it and bring it into the light and say, hey, I'm gonna figure this out.
Taxes were made as a reason to support the war. The war ended, and they kept the taxes going and then increased them. And it's great that there's we have infrastructure for roads, so they can pay private construction companies to do their thing, and it's good that there's the redistribution of funds, I think, for sure. So it's somewhat of a cool system going on, but if it pressures its citizens who can't afford to contribute in that way, there's something incorrect. That's just what I feel. So it's if we just go and we don't challenge the systems that put that pressure on us, I don't know. I don't think that's a democracy. That just becomes whatever, they can say whatever they want. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to get.
I don't. Go ahead.
They can afford to pressure different people. Pressure someone else.
That's what I'm saying.
Pressure Galen Weston, that's all.
Yeah, go. That's basically what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to talk anyone out of ever doing their taxes. It's good to stay caught up, take care of all your P's and Q's. I'm just saying at the end of the day, I don't think anyone here is in a tax bracket where really anyone's like missing any meals in the government, you know?
Yeah.
Let's get in that tax bracket.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Let's all go there so it can just be like, what is that bill? Fuck it, pay it.
Do you have, because there's a lot, I think we can always talk about what isn't right, and we can also talk about what those solutions are.
Yeah.
And
it's all good. We should have a tax professional on, because that's a touchy subject for a lot of people.
And for you, what do you have a solution? Could you look at the Canadian entertainment industry and be like, if we did this and this and this, or if we put more money here, I could earn a living where, I can pay the government?
I don't think I'm smart enough to answer that. I think the only solutions I could come up with are kind of intangible, just like support live comedy, but like how do you tangibly set out a game plan for that? I just think that people in Canada need to promote Canadian entertainment so much more, and we need to just give it more attention. That's all.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know how you would change that infrastructure wise.
Yeah.
And like at the very least, at least JFL before it went under still had legal requirements to hire a certain amount of Canadian acts, and I think that's healthy. But you still feel mostly like just placated, just like given scraps, and just like you're only here because we have a quota to fill.
It's the same I'm sure in acting as well, on bigger film projects that come from the States. It's like they're required to use a certain amount of Canadian actors, but
Bureaucracy.
It's never a lead part.
Yeah, and I really do strongly believe that like the quality here in Canada, at least when it comes to comedy, is easily equal to America. So like the idea that I bristle at the idea that somebody will see like, oh, they're from the States, I should catch them. It's like, you have homegrown talent right here in whatever city that you're in, minus maybe some Red Deer. I don't know what the talent's like in fucking Red Deer.
It's actually pretty good.
Spandy Andy's from Red Deer.
Yeah.
There's some good talent there.
Like I said, I don't have a strong solution, but I think, and I don't want to put it on the people, whatever they are as an entity, because that doesn't mean anything. But like I think just the general sentiment that like what we have here in our own backyard is profound and fucking awesome. I think larger people just need to internalize that.
Okay.
That's all.
That's lovely.
Yeah, and like
I agree.
we got like Shawn Mendes. There's like
there's a bunch of good people.
Yeah, but then like
Shawn Mendes.
Yeah, it is nice to see. I think Toronto, to keep the affirmations like on the positive side, I think Toronto does find its avenues of like of brewing culture. It's like mini culture. Like there's like the little comedy scenes, that happen. Like it's cool. There's like the corner.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
Like there's like cool little nooks like that. I mean, I'm happy to see that like Yuck Yucks is pretty well attended, no?
It is.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're right. I agree though. It's like sometimes selling tickets to independent events can feel like challenging, but then it's like, fuck, once you do it and you pull it off and like it's full and you're like, geez, this is pretty sweet. Just like I grew up in Vancouver. So it's like that's a sleepy city.
In terms of what, culture, entertainment?
Yes. In terms of like attendance or whatnot, I feel like in Toronto, even if it's like a small crowd, there's like a vibe. So it's an energy that can brew here, and I'm happy to see.
Yeah. Vancouver has a pretty good, robust comedy scene. Yeah. So yeah, shout out to the Vancouver peeps. They're they got a pretty good thing going on.
What have you experienced in Vancouver?
There's a place called Comedy After Dark that is run by Susie Rossum. She's the best. And that's a fun venue. It takes really good care of its comedians as well, which is very important. Like a lot of the professional places you go to are so reluctant to give you fucking anything. You know,
crazy.
you really do feel exploited. But so that's why like places that understand comedians and like actually give them enough to make them feel welcomed and thanked and embraced is very important.
Oh, beautiful.
There's a
Danny,
lot
you
going
have a
on
good
in
experience in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Shout out Susie.
Yeah.
Susie?
Comedy After Dark to Susie, yeah.
Where is that?
117 West Pender.
Okay,
I've
Pender.
done it enough times that now I
Gastown.
have the address in my head.
Is that
yeah, look up
Gastown?
Comedy After Dark.
Sick.
Yeah.
All right. I just learned
Gastown,
something
I
about
don't know.
my...
Now we
I think
know.
so, maybe.
We lived in Vancouver for he grew up there, but I lived there for 4 years, 2008 to 2012. And we weren't really, we were in improv. We met at an improv troupe.
Hey, cool.
Yeah. But not really the stand-up scene. So I've never been in the stand-up scene. You were in it a bit.
Yeah, I
You guys
started
met
there.
in improv. What did one of you go? You want a date? And the other person said
Yes,
yes,
and. Basically.
I wish I did that.
Has anyone made that joke before?
No.
Okay.
That's awesome.
That was it.
Yeah.
I was right there. I was just like, that's beautiful.
That was a little improv moment we had right there.
Exactly. Yeah, improv is so fun. I dropped out of high school, so I started doing stand-up and doing like training at VTSL. It was
Okay.
Vancouver Theatre Sports League, which
Oh,
is like
yeah.
a second city here. And and then one day, like I felt like, I felt round enough as a performer to like join a troupe, and I looked on Craigslist, and Winnie had just moved Vancouver too, and she was looking on Craigslist, so technically we both joined a group off Craigslist. We met off Craigslist.
Oh, wow, Craigslist, bringing people together.
Craigslist.
Yeah,
Yeah. What a place.
yeah. It still exists.
Yeah,
I'm
I know.
sure.
And it still has like the cat and dog section for sale. No bueno.
No?
No, don't get
Yeah.
your cats and dogs from Craigslist, folks.
It's a pretty seedy place.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever see the casual encounters there?
I used to peruse.
I love it. I would too. I just thought they were interesting.
Yeah.
I always want hope. I hoped
We'd
so
read 'em.
much that people would find each other on Craigslist. Oh my God. Can you imagine if you ever had that moment with a person? If there was like something and it was palpable out in public, and then you went home onto your computer and you were like, oh my God, I should have said something.
Oh, missed encounters.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I was talking
yeah.
about casual encounters.
Oh.
They were sick.
I'm talking about
completely
missed.
different.
Missed
Yeah.
encounters. That missed
never mind.
encounters is
Wrong
so
category.
good. No,
No, but-
that's even funnier. That's even better because
I went
like,
on that 'cause I would read
Do you know the
those.
missed encounters?
Oh yeah.
Oh my
yeah.
God,
I
those
feel
were
like
so funny.
There should be, because Craigslist is now just it's stigmatized. It's the blemish.
Yes.
Its reputation is so shot that they should just come up with a new app or website that does that specifically. Just missed encounters without the
Yes.
Craigslist association.
Oh my God.
Get us
Yeah.
far away from Craigslist as you possibly can.
and
Yes.
Craig.
And Craig, yeah, fuck Craig. Fuck Craig and his perverted lists.
You know what missed encounters is now? IG.
No, I guess.
I guess.
No,
No,
if you don't
not
get their
really.
name.
No, that's true. That's
Yeah.
right. Hold on. Where would you post?
My romantic vision for this scene is no talking. It's like an eye connection,
You're on a
maybe
train.
like a brush by. Oh my
man.
God!
I could feel like maybe we could go somewhere and just chat and see if our futures align.
I love the descriptions too. You were the girl sitting down right next to the
Vending
doors.
machine.
Oh, I
Eating
should
broccoli.
look at them.
I should do
It
something.
makes you wonder if there's any missed connections for me.
I hope so.
If anyone's out there, like, you had nice shoulders. You had big.
Maybe I need to do a documentary on misconnection people, because there's got to be, of all the people in the world, there's got to be at least two people that found each other via misconnection.
I bet
wonder.
1,000% can guarantee someone is married right now because of the missed encounter section.
Yeah.
I just feel that.
Gotta
We got to
be.
find them, and
I
you
mean-
have to help us.
I've seen Twitter do it before.
Yeah.
It happens on Twitter where somebody will be like, "Oh, I was just in the blah blah blah, and we had a moment, and I wish we could have whatever, and then somebody will be like, "That was me," or something like that. Yeah.
Can you screenshot that anytime you see it the next
I
time?
will. Yeah, I
It'll
will.
just bring a lot of joy to my heart.
Joy.
I feel like that's what this should be called.
I have that too. I have that joyful expression, Ava Val, or joy, or joyfulness, something like that.
Love all of it.
Tons
As
of
long as
titles.
you include joy,
Yes.
then I'm happy.
Yeah.
Then I'm joyful.
Ugh. You are a joy.
You are a joy.
Thank you for sharing your joy.
Oh, is it over? I'm not joyful anymore.
I know. Hold on.
Well,
on,
you
I
can
miss
tell.
it
You
already.
can tell us anything you want to say. You can say it.
Is it plug time?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Plug, talk about the future.
Or if
whatever.
you want to continue,
Keep
we're happy to
ripping.
chat.
We will never kick you out.
If
Yeah.
there's some,
You're
Let
always
it keep going a little bit longer.
Yeah, I
I'm
fuck
having
with that.
fun.
I think some people are happy.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah,
I'm happy.
I wasn't ready for it to close.
Sure. Okay.
are you?
great.
What's your favorite season?
Oh, summer for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I think I do not understand anyone who says anything else.
No.
I don't get it. Winter is awful. Cold is just terrible. I'm not a fan. Spring, at least you got a little bit of promises. Summer, spring's only good because summer is coming and winter is going. And then fall, when people are like, oh, but the colors, all the oranges and
But it's
reds
getting
and yellows.
colder.
And you're like, that means everything's dying. Everything's dying and I don't like it.
Yeah, and I'm about to go through hell, like right after this.
It's like you
section.
brace yourself
Yeah,
for depression going into winter. You're like, it's
Yeah.
like getting in a cold plunge.
When you have to pull out your winter jacket just like too early. It's always too early. We always pull it out in November. No one should be pulling out their winter jackets in November.
I agree.
I like hot, sunny.
Me too.
That's good.
See, it's like 29, 30 degrees Celsius right
Yeah.
now.
So do
And
you,
I really don't mind.
me
I
too.
love it.
I love it.
Do people
cool
say
with
to
me.
you, if you, because we talk about moving somewhere hot permanently, and people will say like,
Well, you don't
you'll
have
miss the seasons. And I'm like, I really don't think I will. For at least 8 years.
Yeah, maybe 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably 10.
I'm with you guys. I wouldn't miss it either.
No.
yeah.
Yeah.
Seems like a sane person. Loves mango, sunshine. That's what's up.
Yeah. I'm a ray of fucking sunshine, aren't I?
Facts.
Hell yeah.
Did
Oh,
you know you always wanted to be a comedian?
I knew in high school. I knew.
Wow.
Yeah. And I consider myself really super lucky that way.
Yeah.
Like I just suddenly became obsessed with it out of nowhere, and I just fucking knew.
Who did you like?
Yeah.
I got really into Dane Cook. I was in that Dane
Dude.
Cook.
He was so good.
He was so good.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And
He
people-
dominated for a while.
He really did.
Yeah.
He was a fucking rock star.
Yeah.
And that was part of, admittedly, what like inspired me to want to be a stand-up comedian, because watching him like sell out stadiums.
Yeah.
And really, my first exposure was his album Retaliation. And I remember listening to the energy in the room. Even if you were not a fan of Dane Cook, even if you set aside his material or whatever gripes you have about him, listening to Retaliation, I would argue that there is no other album that has that level of like insane, explosive, room-filling like
Visceral.
energy.
Yes.
Yeah, the people are like roaring with laughter, and he just has them eating out of the palm of his hands, and he's giving them so much energy too. It's electric. So whenever I heard that, when I heard Retaliation the first time, I was like, I want that feeling
Yes.
of like room exploding, fucking laughter.
I see that from
Yeah.
you. That's beautiful. That's so, yeah. Was that the one where he was in the circle?
Retaliation was just an album, so you didn't see anything that he was doing, but you could still tell, like,
Oh, I love that audio albums. I
yeah,
remember that.
yeah.
Fuck, Dane Cook. Mm-hmm. And then he had that big tourgasm.
Tourgasm,
He took,
Robert Kelly, Gary Gulman, and Jay Davis.
Davis, you know
I
it.
was a big fan.
yes! Got that DVD.
Yeah.
I got those special features with the tour behind
Are you
it.
keeping up with him now? Has he?
No.
What's up with
yeah.
Dane
No,
now?
I know
I think he's doing stuff.
he's still, yeah.
He's doing some stuff.
I think he'll always be a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
I don't think you ever
Yeah, you have your rock.
pivot from that.
Yeah, you have your rock star moment where you go through the mainstream and then you just get to be that. Mm-hmm.
I'm a special or two behind. He put a recent one out where I think he performed on his like back porch or something like
That's
that.
dope.
Which is like interesting. Yeah, it's cool.
Why the fuck not?
Yeah. Although
Kevin Hart did a COVID house
In
special.
his basement, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it was in his
Cool.
backyard too.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Dane Cook. Who else? Comedian wise.
Patton Oswalt.
Okay.
Yeah. He's the best. Huge Patton Oswalt fan. So that's why I like to think that my comedic tastes are well rounded. Because like growing up, I was a huge fan of Mr. Bean and Whose Line Is It Anyway? So not like stand up per se, but really like physical comedy and improv. And so like if you really trace back like my influences, you can really see them come through in my stand up. And like Patton Oswalt is such a poet with his words sometimes. And so I like to think that some of my bits have such precise wording, and that's sort of inspired by Patton Oswalt because he's just so lyrically like just his vocabulary and his words are just so perfect sometimes, so incisive and encyclopedic. Where like it's not a word you would think to say in your regular vocabulary, but it just like captures the feeling or the point that he's making so perfectly.
Yeah.
And so the Bones thing, like the punchline where I'm like, fuckable to a necrophiliac paleontologist from the future, that's like 4 really specific words to like punch. And that, I attribute that kind of precision to Patton Oswalt.
Yes.
That's fucking cool.
Am I getting too heady now?
No, I love it.
Yeah. Should we wrap this up? I'm sorry.
No, I don't want to wrap it
push?
out. No.
Now I'm getting all self-conscious.
No, that's fucking rad. And then you...
Who are your influences?
I'm just high.
Chelsea Handler is like a big influence for me. I like I didn't have any confidence for such a long time. And I didn't have any substance either.
Sure.
And so I think her just being so like unabashed about everything of her life and her body and her sex and not having kids and like rebelling, that just feels right to me now, right where I sit currently in my life. So I just want to like poke around and see what it feels like to expand my comfort zone, because I'm really just like, I want to please people, and that's always been my go-to, and it's been easy. I've been really good at it. And so anyone who is like, fuck you, that's kind of who I'm aligning with right now.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah, Chelsea Peretti, I really love her.
Yeah. Comedy is rebellion. So any comedian who really leans into that, like, I don't know, counterculture, I do things my own fucking way, is very endearing.
Yes.
And inspiring.
Yeah. And it feels good. I don't know. I'm still learning. Like I don't know where my style is going right now, but I'm in that phase where I'm just like, let me talk about everything that like I don't want to talk about, like mostly my vagina and sex and my period, you know, all that shit. That's where I'm at right now.
Talk about whatever resonates with you right now.
Yeah.
Talk about what you know. Keep it simple. That goat bit at the beginning of the special, I needed it to sort of address the insecurity that I have about people being like, she only talks about trans stuff. But like, so it did accomplish, like it at least gave me a response to that, a preemptive response to people, to the criticisms I'm inevitably going to get, where people are like, that's the whole special is about trans stuff, which it really isn't, if you really fucking pay attention.
Agree.
But, yeah, I've learned since then that, like, you can't control what other people are going to criticize you for, but you're perfectly in control of what you know and what you're going through. And as long as you can relate that as a human experience, there will always be somebody on the other end who can relate to that. And that's all that we're in this for. That's all that matters.
Yeah. You know, it's been such a cool experience for me, being pissed off at him. And like for maybe not really a great reason, or maybe it was justified. I don't know. I don't even know
There's never
anymore.
a great reason. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
He's an angel. Look at
I
that.
know, look at his sweet face. It's true. And being in that mode where you're like, when someone's like, you know, are you mad at me? And you're like, no, you know, but you are.
Yeah.
And being in that mode and like
Liar
living
mode.
in that mode, and then finding somehow like a shift happened, and I was like, this is actually hilarious. And then you know, you move into a joke and you're writing it, and it's so cathartic that by the time that you're finished it, you're like, I don't feel those negative emotions anymore.
Yeah,
That's
totally.
been such a pleasure.
Alchemy.
A gift.
That's what I'm saying. The spirit has touched your heart if
Yeah.
you have a flow mechanism like craft to
Yeah.
write and turn life into a objective reality that you can then cradle and use for the benefit of making people laugh later. It's such beautiful. It's alchemy.
It really is. Comedy is therapy. And I know there's a cliche. There's always the cliche, especially in the community, of comedians who like go on stage to like work out some trauma that they've had,
Yes.
and it really doesn't work, and it turns into abuse of the audience, and it's ugly and messy. But like depending on how you approach it, it can be such a healing thing.
Yeah.
And that's why so much of my act in this special was me like really truly working out a lot of these insecurities and these trials and tribulations on stage. Like that special is the product of a lot of on-stage therapy. And like every insecurity that I talk about on stage is something that I am triumphing over by talking about it. So you're watching the therapy
That's it.
happen live in front of your eyes. And I think that's a really special thing.
It feels like it has that great energy of coming with the bars like a response of almost like what I've learned. And that's so good because it feels like holistic. It feels like, you know, you got it off your chest. You brought us there. You shared it. So go watch the special.
Yeah. Yeah. There's the whole
Yeah.
bit, off the top of my head, there's the whole bit about vocal feminization training. And that is still an ongoing struggle with me. And I'm still deeply insecure about my voice. But talking about it has really opened up so many conversations that have been so helpful to me. And like just hearing someone else say, yeah, I'm self-conscious about that too. Or like, you really, just to be seen and acknowledged in that moment, and to get a fucking laugh in a room full of people is such a take back of power and control over your own insecurities. You're like, at least I can create joy out of this miserable experience.
Yo, respect. That's so beautiful. That's so
It's really
sick. I
awesome.
love that.
Keep
Again,
oh
alchemy.
man, keep just living like that. You have this like childlike quality to you
Childlike.
that I recognize in like my nephew and niece. I just spoke to them last night on FaceTime, and it's just like I guess obviously you get down and like you have bad days. During those times, you're holding yourself in kindness and joy, what you've basically been telling us this whole time.
I try to. I'm not perfect
Yeah.
at it. I'm really brutally self-critical. I'm really mean to myself a lot. And so it takes deliberate practice to like give myself kindness, or just to, if I can't do that, then just keep moving. Like, don't stop moving. I don't know. It's kind of like, don't give yourself time to wallow in despair. Like, do something, get on your feet and do something and move. And you know, this too shall pass. It's kind of the idea that this too shall pass. So when I'm like really going through it, I still have forward motion. I don't know. That's hard to. I don't know if I'm describing it
That's
properly.
so
but-
beautiful. That is it. That's hope. That's a glimmer, a ray of
Hope.
sunshine for tomorrow. That's like faith that you can evolve this, that it will pass as well. We have this funny saying, it's like, make a clip, bitch. It's mostly when you find our thoughts going dramatic or getting involved with shit you can't control. I'm like, make a clip, bitch. Like fucking stop doting on, whether it be like self-sadness or anger or whatever. It's like for the podcast, make a clip. Like, I'll go to this episode and probably clip this up and make it like a little IG thing. Like, do something productive. Move forward.
That.
Yeah.
I love
Or you can
that.
go your special now or anytime. Boom. Screen record. Make a reel out of it.
Yeah.
Like, make a clip, bitch.
I like that. See, that's really helpful.
What happens when you don't want to make the clip?
Go for a walk.
Exercise.
Yeah,
They're like real
that's true.
practical things. Exercise.
Nacho
Talk to
cheese.
a friend. I'm really lucky that I live with my best friend. So a lot of the times when I'm like really in a dark place, all it takes is just sitting on the couch across from him and just like chatting. It doesn't have to be about what I'm struggling with. Just like being with a friend and being with someone you love is so revitalizing. And so like,
That's true. I love that. That's
How long have you guys been best friends for?
Oh, since like I was 18. We like met in university.
Whoa.
Yeah, and he's my best friend.
How long have
Shout
you-
out to Steve. I love
Steve!
He knows I shout him out all the time. I love him.
How long have you lived together for?
10 years?
Wow. Bravo. Living with people is hard.
It is. But he's so easygoing and so am I. It's just like,
It works
works.
beautifully.
yeah, we
Congrats.
never argue or have any fights or anything. And if we do disagree on something, it's handled so swiftly and maturely and just like, hey, can you start doing this for me? I feel like, I don't know. The soap thing is gross, and if you do this, it won't be gross.
Yeah.
And one of us would be like, oh, yeah, okay.
Makes sense.
I'll try and remember that.
Nice.
And then they try, and, whatever.
That good communication is wild. You're doing God's work. That's insane. When you feel attacked sometimes because you live in a household with someone because they're saying you're not doing something right, that's so good that you can put your ego aside and just like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. You know what? Now that you mention it, I can only imagine. I'm lucky that I can only imagine what it feels like to be in that, like, tense atmosphere with a roommate that, sneaking to the kid, like, maneuvering silently around each other in your shared spaces is
Yeah.
Although,
Don't do that.
I have a family, so I know that feeling. I know that feeling very well.
Right.
But it's been a while, is all I'm saying.
That's good.
It's
Yeah.
always like that. What do you like to eat? What is your favorite dining experience,
man.
food, cuisine choice?
I'm a big noodles girl. I love noodles across all cultures.
Hey.
Everyone's got. If you got noodles,
Pasta.
I love them.
Pho.
Pasta,
Pho.
Chinese pho,
Yeah.
like lo mein, chow mein, Shanghai noodle.
Hello.
Oh, pad thai.
Hello.
I love
Yes.
Pad
udon. I love noodles. I love noodles.
They're really good.
The thick noodles, the udon are so
Udon
good.
is so good with beef. I'm a big noodle girl, and I have so many ramen packets, instant ramen packets.
That's
my,
such a good
go-to
idea.
Late snack.
It's delicious. I wish we did. I'm going to go get some.
Yeah,
'Cause
instant ramen hits the spot.
It really does.
Yeah.
Do you like them a little bit crispy?
No, I like
no?
soft.
You like soft?
I like soft, but no, not too. I like soft and like greasy and saucy, but not in a soup. I don't like too much broth.
Right.
If I need to like drink it at the end, I'm like not as cool.
Fuck
with
this
that.
soup.
Yeah.
Just the noodles.
I like saucy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ramen.
Do you sauce it up?
I sauce it up.
That's good.
When I do the instant ramen, I try and use as little water as possible,
Yeah.
just enough to get the noodles softened.
Nice.
I don't drink what's left, but like.
Remember, you don't? I always
I
crush
will.
that MSG spit at the bottom.
Yeah.
I used to get the kimchi bowls from the grotto at my high school.
Oh, yum.
And they were just like, it'd always give you like the red around, you know?
Oh,
But
yeah.
I remember the Mr. Noodles, like the cup you could get at the
Yeah.
skating rink or whatever as a kid. And the chicken or beef, the cup, I always go with the
Those
chicken
were
probably.
so good.
Yeah, like those. I grew up in Vancouver. There was a lot of Asian homies, and we'd all get the Mr. Noodles from the Asian mall and like bust them up, and then like put the packet and just eat them like chips.
Oh, I've seen that before. Yeah.
Like when I'm
Interesting.
straight up eating raw MSG on the like
Yeah.
wheat.
MSG's
soy flour.
delicious.
What is
It really is.
It was so cool. We just used to crush it. Like, noodles are the bomb.
There's
That's
a
so
delicious pho at Costco, but we had to stop buying it because it's too much packaging. They have a little spoon in every like bowl. It's just like, and they're all individually plastic wrapped, and then
no.
there's
It's too much plastic.
We can't do it.
Yeah.
You can't be conscious consumer and enjoy noodles, buddy.
No, yeah, but I want to know, what did you learn in university?
I took psychology.
Oh,
I majored in psych.
That's
Yeah.
And you know,
Fun.
people.
Self-awareness here.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Everybody's always like, "Oh, that must really inform your comedy. That must help." And it's like, maybe it would if I paid attention in class, but the things I learned are like social psych, sort of group dynamics, which also don't apply to such a specific context as a comedy club. It's so
Sure.
specific that it's like, I
In
don't
what
know.
context did they try and teach it?
I learned about stuff like groupthink and
Groupthink, like
bystander effect.
right.
Oh.
So like
And-
school of fish and like people just following
Yeah.
that type stuff.
Yeah,
we're
the way-
primordial animals. We're just like animals. We're like
Really and truly.
a part of us. Like it's like part of us is like connected to that divine flow and this ability to cognitively process things and label things so we have a reference point to them, and then the other half of us is just like survive and fuck and shit and eat and like that's it, and you're just like you can't help it. You're it's like that school of fish thing. It's like I have to purposely on purpose, indigo child, sense little baby, you know, whatever the crowd is doing, I'm like I
Yeah.
turn this way. I just make sure to turn this way because I don't trust it. Like where
Yeah.
the school of fish is going, but it's like I become hyper aware because of non-trusting circumstances or whatever, you know. But like this is very real stuff. What did you find? How, do you use that to navigate life? The awareness of those things?
It's more superficial than yes and no. It's more superficial than anything else. Like whenever I see a post of somebody getting like harassed in public in a big crowd and nobody's intervening and all the comments underneath are like, what does the world come to? And like, if I was there, I would have blah, 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 blah. And everybody thinks that
No, you
they're
wouldn't have.
a hero.
Yeah, no, you
but
wouldn't have.
that's what bystander effect is. This is what happens when it's just any individual person is more likely to not intervene when the group gets bigger and bigger and bigger because you take your cues from everybody else. So if everyone else is kind of standing around, you're like, okay, this isn't an emergency. I don't need to step in. Someone else will do it. Like there's always this someone else will do it vibe.
Totally.
Whereas if you encountered, I don't know, somebody slumped over on a bench looking all bloody and shit, and you were the only person around, you would be like, I need to do something because no one else will. So like, I just see people complain and misattribute social psychological phenomena. People just get it wrong. And in my head, I'm like, no, that's a thing. That's what we all, you know?
Yeah.
So it's good just to have that awareness and know that that's
Yeah, but it doesn't do me any practical good, you know? In the end, we are so much like, it's our fight or flight instincts also play into that, where like, anytime you watch an animal documentary where they're like a bunch of zebras and they're drinking from the little water thing, and if one of them freaks out, then all of them will freak out.
They react.
Because you don't want to stick around to find out what the situation is. Like, you gotta move. If you see everyone else freaking out, you gotta fucking move. And that's also very much in our human responses to shit, is we take our cues from everybody else, and if something pops off, then
we are such animals. If you ever go on YouTube and see when I think they're like Thai farmers or something, they give these big boxes of either pomegranates or bananas or watermelon or something to monkeys. And they all like start like running and scuttling and like putting in their mouth and like running and giving and like coming and bringing their friends, and they all start like doing this like rambunctious consumerism, and then it's like, look at the TP and the pandy.
yeah,
Like humans are just like,
yeah.
we're still
Or
very
just like
animal-like.
holidays, like Black Friday and stuff. Like,
Give me.
it's crazy what happens. Yeah.
it's so sad. Scarcity makes people really get violent.
How do you
Yeah.
stay in an abundant mindset? Or do you? Or do you find yourself slipping into scarcity? Do you measure that? Do you have an aware compass of that?
That's a really cool question.
Thank you.
I'm pretty good at practicing gratefulness.
That's the best.
Yeah, and I use the word practice specifically because like a lot of the time it's a matter of what you choose to focus your attention to, and so like the things that you're grateful for will always fill you. It helps keep you buoyant. And I mean, on a certain level, sometimes practicing gratefulness makes me feel undeserving. If you're in the wrong headspace and you're like, I have all of this, and yet
Yes.
I have no right to feel as miserable. Okay, last cup. I
sorry.
appreciate it. No, this is great. I'm still enjoying it. I just don't want to drink your whole bottle.
What? No.
Yeah, I'm enjoying all of these things, so I don't have a right to feel sad. And that's when it becomes toxic, and you're not engaging with it properly, because like you always have a right to be grateful for the things that you do, but you also have a right to be upset by the things that upset you and to be sad. Like
Yeah, we have a gratitude journal practice where we spend time in the morning just like what we're grateful for. And I had to take a huge break from it because I felt like I was literally patronizing myself. I felt like I was writing down this bullshit and it's fucking bullshit, and I'm doing it to get to a place where I think hopefully I can cultivate some sense of gratitude again, but I don't fucking feel it right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I just stopped because I was like, this is not helping. you know? And as of recently, I've really like gotten back to it because I understand it's like power. It feels so good to be grateful.
Yeah.
But when you're not feeling that, to try and like force yourself there.
Helps to write it. I swear to God, just like the affirmations at night. Technique
Yeah.
moves the spirit sometimes. You're better off just writing the words, I am grateful, and then like proceeding.
Yeah.
Them not, I think.
I don't disagree with that, but it just like wasn't working. And
Fair
I
enough.
was like, it wasn't
Take a
like,
break.
yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it can be counterproductive that way, where if you're just not feeling it, it can go the other way.
And then you're going to dig yourself into a deeper hole because you're forcing yourself to do something that is extremely disconnecting from what you're feeling, and it doesn't work. That's fully how I. Whenever I disconnect from what's actually happening in my body instead of being present with it, it's like depression is on its way.
Yeah.
Like I can feel it.
Don't cut yourself off from awareness. Move through it.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's nice to label how you're feeling sometimes.
Where at lives in me.
Absolutely. Yeah, journaling is really important. I have this really cool book that I've bought two. It's okay. It's a question a day.
Good, thank you.
It's a question a day for a full year. It has the date of every, like January 1st all the way through December 31st. And it asks a different question every day. And it has a little set of lines that you fill it in. But there are 5 pieces to each page. And so once you answer the question for the first year, you start from the top and you go through the second section answering the same question on that same day in 5 subsequent years.
Yo, that's so cool.
It's so cool. I highly recommend it. I have one that I completed 5 years, and now I'm on year 2 of. No, I've completed 2 so far. So I'm on my 3rd book. I've been doing it for a long time, and it is so fucking awesome. It's better than I think just plain journaling, because this gives you such a specific moment in time and a specific thought to like flip back on. 7 years ago, I can see how I answered. If today were a color, what would it be on May 31st, 2019? And I can flip back and be like, oh, that's how I was feeling on that day. That's what I was working through at the time.
Yeah.
It's like really cool.
Oh my
really
God.
cool.
You're interfacing with yourself in a different linear state.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's called Question a Day or something like that. It's pretty easy to find on Amazon. It's cheap.
That's so cool.
What
Yeah.
a gift.
Yeah.
Go get that.
I highly recommend it.
After you
Not
watch
to-
the special, So Brave.
Yes.
We got a list for you guys.
Also, you have a podcast.
Yeah, that's right.
How's that been?
It's been okay. I'll be honest. I don't know what to do with it. It's a lot of effort for what feels like not a lot of payoff. And I don't like doing it completely alone. Like, I just wish I had more help.
Yeah.
It really takes a lot of time. And, you know, if I'm not growing, it's hard to really motivate. And while I feel like I'm getting better at it, the numbers aren't really jumping up. And I keep hearing from all these people, like, you need a gimmick or a premise. Not a gimmick, a premise.
Yeah.
You know, you guys have a premise here.
Yeah, that's true. Discipline, stoners. It's a discipline. It's also the craft. And then stoner definitely refers to cannabis. So there's that. And like, we built a space in the cannabis industry. But I feel like a podcast is everything you do around it. So, like, the podcast is, like, documenting great conversations. Like, I always go in, and, like, we certainly fulfilled it today, is, like, I hope to, like, catch inspiration. You know, I hope to, like, go somewhere in conversation with that. And I think, like, just focusing on, like, reaching that result, similar to how you do stand-up as opposed to the numbers, because, yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
It's lean for a long time. But, like, just like my buddy Matt, he's a big YouTuber, and he did it for like 4 years and just like super slow grow, like just like a little bit of this, but then plateauing. And then all of a sudden, he tells the story on the podcast. He got added through a creator group of like more successful creators, and they basically chose to like blow up one of his videos, and he's just like, oh, I know my life is gonna change. And then like boom, like the 5th year he goes into it, like he blows up 6 million subscribers.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like you gotta just like sometimes
Yeah.
endure, but like it's I know what you mean. It's a lot to produce, and especially alone. Like I get it. I kind of produce this, like, but like it is helpful to have even someone to bounce off of.
Yeah.
Where do you shoot it? At home or?
At home, at my computer desk.
Yeah.
That's also why it's low budget.
Yeah.
I don't have a budget to make it fancy.
No.
And it's just me alone. It's me riffing which is what I like to do, obviously. And it's like, if you're a fan of mine, it's really fun because you get to see what I'm working through that week, and like I'm like working out premises.
Do you know, like,
it's really funny.
Chris D'Elia does like a podcast like this. You know
Yeah,
this?
yeah. And
I
Bill
love
Burr
that.
too.
Yeah, like a riff.
Just a solo riffing kind of thing. I'm a big fan of that, or
Yeah.
at least just doing it. But I realize that, I don't know, there's only, I don't know. I need to visit the strategy of it, because while I really like doing it, it's hard.
Sometimes you don't
Yeah.
have to put a pressure of it being a podcast either. Like, you could just drop rips on people. You know, I think I have a segment.
You still have to do all the work, though.
Yeah.
But of like editing it and stuff, and just like it is. It's insane. It's insane. People talk. It's a while. How many episodes have you done?
I've done 132 or something like that.
Oh shit! So like,
But
you have.
I've been doing it for a long time.
That's
and like, I'm no stranger to the idea of like not seeing things pay off for a very long time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
You're a comedian.
stand-up.
Yeah. I know.
So, and I believe it, but it's
It's another thing.
you know what? This is such a terrible sales pitch for my podcast. I just realized it's really fun and I really love it, but I just need to figure out
I appreciate
what
your
the
honesty.
strategy is.
No, I appreciate
Yeah.
your honesty, because I do think you are like, you certainly have the talent. You know what I mean? Like,
Maybe
you
if
can
someone
use it,
gave
like,
you
people
money
want
to
that
do
from
it.
you. Well, that
See?
always motivates, right?
Yeah,
Like, if you
absolutely.
if you partner with a brand before you start, I think the kind of memorandi or whatever the fuck the mode of whatever's going on is like, kind of right now is like the entrepreneurial grind of like, build it, get the audience, and then a brand will come to you. But sometimes you can start with a brand, or our friends from the Gay Women's Channel, like Sarah and Age, they like basically sold 10 episodes to a brand, and they shot 10, and like, that's the project. And it's like that. So that episode is 10, or the podcast, their podcast sponsored by, has, you know, whatever that amount of episodes that brand does, and like, until another brand steps up and sponsors another 10, they're just not tripping.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think that, like, that pressure, you know what I mean? Like, that's the shit that makes it, that chases us away from the idea, because we operate on joy. I feel you. It's like we
Yeah.
got to somehow flip the perspective into like feeling fun about it. But then sometimes if it's just not resonating, it's fucking not resonating.
Yeah.
You know, like
It's-
but 132 is pretty good,
That's
yo.
really
Yeah.
good.
It's pretty good.
And what's
On
cool
your
about it?
own?
Yeah. What's cool about it is that, like, if you go to episode 1, this was like pre-transition me too. So, like, it does act as this public diary, the same way that my stand-up does. But, like, this
Yes.
is kind of more live. You can see, you can listen
feel
to
that.
me, like, work out everything that I'm going through. It's a cool journal of my life.
That's so you have that. I mean, that's what
Yeah,
you got to look
that's-
at the end of the day. Like
Yeah.
that's a gift to our. I think about that with this pod. It's like it's a gift to myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I may look back and be like, "What a wiener," and I may look back and be like, "Fuck, I was really onto something," you know, at that
Yeah.
time. You know, but yeah, that's beautiful. That is a
Yeah.
gift. Congrats.
So check it out. It's called PodGis. PodGis.
We'll put it in the link below.
What's
with
it called?
Ava,
Hold on.
PodGis. PodGis with Ava Val. PodGis.
Yes.
The story. See,
it like
it's not
August?
even well named.
No, it's not what I'm saying. It's not what I'm saying.
I think it's perfect.
Thank you. It's, it comes from an inside joke in the podcast. My name used to be Algis, Algis. And so I used to do this thing all the time where whatever state of mind I was in, if I was tired, I would be tiredgis. And I always like identified with how I was feeling by adding GIS at the end. So I'd be like, yo, that's dopegis. Or like, it was just like a lingo thing. And so that's why I decided to call it PodGis, because like I do that all the time. Where I'm like,
It's a nice play on podcast.
yeah. See, it's got a little bit of a ring to it.
Amazing. Okay, so go check that
See?
out.
No, I think it's good, and you should keep going.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
That's so
I will.
wicked. What a nice time.
Yeah. Thank you guys for having
Yo,
me.
our
Oh my
pleasure.
gosh,
Thank you
I'm
for
glad we
blessing
kept
us.
talking.
Yeah, we got to do
Me
more.
too.
We got to do a catch up.
You can have me back anytime.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah,
We'll
for
do
real.
we'll do one other person, then we'll do you again.
Okay, no, maybe not anytime.
Tomorrow.
We'll see how people respond to this first. And then we'll see.
And if you enjoyed this, we got another one coming out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
so
Do you want to
appreciate
say
you.
anything else?
Please, check out my special, So Brave, on YouTube, Ava
must.
Val. And like I was saying before about consuming comedy and platforming people in our own backyard, whether you're from Canada, Toronto specifically, or wherever you are, I think that I like to think I'm a fresh voice. I'm really fun. I'm very positive, and I think there are worse people that you could platform than me. And just trust me when I say that every share really means something to me. So not to get all beggy about it, not to. but
You should
please
be
share.
following Ava. She's hilarious. And then you get to see clips as well of her stand-up. So
Yeah, that's right. Follow me on all platforms, Ava Val Comedy, because I post regular clips of my antics on stage, and I'm so full of antics. I do antics all the time, so I'm posting clips of my antics.
So
you're
good.
so good.
Thanks.
You're fucking really incredible storyteller and just wonderful overall entertainer and performer.
And to know
Thank
that
you.
it comes from a place of joy, and that's the
Yeah.
energy. That energy that you're operating on is so beautiful.
Oh, guys.
Appreciate
Oh,
you.
guys,
I
thanks for coming on
appreciate
the
you.
podcast.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks.
Love. See you guys.
Okay.
Subscribe. Tell a friend. Back in your hole.
See you next week.
Did you want some more kombucha down there?